Hey everybody, happy Saturday to you. Wanted to touch base with you guys a little bit about what I posted this morning. I'm at a lacrosse tournament this weekend. At the same token, I am balancing some work stuff. And it kind of reiterated back the conversation that I posted this morning on the routine of what takes place on the weekends. And a lot of times I've seen that when the weekend hits, it's like everything just drops. Everything stops. It's like, oh, I made it to a Saturday. And there's two different types. I was a school teacher, so I was a W-2 employee. So when I say this, I'm not trying to be mean to the W-2 employees. It's just when you work that position, it's like, well, I'm not getting paid for that. So I'm turning it off and I'm going to do my own thing. And so be it. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're a 1099, it's a little bit different because unfortunately there is no off day, especially in the real estate industry, entrepreneurship. You don't really get a day off to some aspect. And if you're in the beginning phases of starting your business, you're even worse because not only are you working the weekends, you're probably working majority of the weekend because you're playing catch up. You're trying to financially figure things out. You don't have the opportunity for salaried employees. You have to do a lot of it on your own. But at the same token, you got to make sure that you're spending time with your family. You're spending time with your kids. Kind of the all work and no play. It's not a really good balance. I tried that in my life and it didn't work out very well at all. I became a workaholic. Um, Started off as an alcoholic, got into a workaholic. So none of that stuff with me worked out very well. So I had to find balance. I learned that the drinking phase, there is no balance. It's just all or none. And so I chose none. But for work, I've learned to have balance more in my life. I got a 3-year-old and I have a 9-year-old. I'm in a relationship. I have family. I have siblings. So you have to be able to blend both of that all at the same token. Yet at the same time, I'm sitting in my car here getting ready to do a conference call that I have to be able to do both. But the other key ingredient of balance is a routine. And this morning I talked about it on the Facebook of what does your routine look like in the morning? And I shared that my Monday through Friday routine is typically my alarm set at 4:35. I get up and I do my thing and I go from there. On the weekends, I let my body naturally wake me up, and because I formed a habit inside of my system, just like I'm sure many, when school usually typically ends, kids somewhat degree, it's like I'm so used to getting up early. They get up a little bit early, but by the end of summer, guess what? They're sleeping in. And then it's more of a challenge to get them back in order for when school starts. It's the same thing for adults. I don't know why we think as adults that we're just different, and it's not. And so what happens is Monday through Friday, you're typically getting up on an alarm clock, hitting it several times. And then when the weekend comes, you're just like, oh my goodness, I can't, let me just sleep in till 9, 10 o'clock, whatever it might be. But the thing I'll tell you is this: you've got to be very cognitive of your weekends and your routine, letting your body naturally. And if you're like, well, I'm a sleeper, I'm not a morning person, then maybe you do have to set an alarm on your weekends. But you want to try to stay in as much routine as you possibly can. My body naturally gets up between 5:15 and 5:30, and it's like I slept in about 30 to 45 minutes and I feel so refreshed. But I keep my same routine. Now I might not hit it because I got to be, picking up the kids or breakfast or dropping off at school, daycare, my mindset calls, prayer calls. Like I might not hit it by like 6:45, 7 o'clock, but I still do my prayer. I still do my mindset. I still do my journal entry. I still did my 20-minute jog this morning. I did my 60 push-ups. That's my new thing now is I got to do 60 push-ups a day. I'm doing that 1776 challenge. Anybody wants to do that, let me know. It's actually pretty good. Um, and I do 60 sit-ups. That's my new thing for July. But it's all part of my routine. So that way I keep myself in that pace. I think it's very, very important to understand that especially if you're trying to get into time management, you're trying to get in routine, you're trying to build habits, you're trying to build self-discipline. The biggest thing my first question always to people is like, well, what time do you get up in the morning? Well, it kind of depends, Brock. What? What do you mean it kind of depends? Like, you got to have a set routine every single time, every single day. And yes, Saturday and Sunday come, but you can sway from it a little bit. But for the most part, you really need to still be in a weekend routine. It doesn't have to be exact, but you still should have a weekend routine. So that way you're not completely off the grid on Monday mornings. Like, oh, woe is me. I can't believe it. I got to get up, do this. It's like depression hits. They actually say that most car accidents take place on Monday mornings because people start thinking about their lives and thinking about the rut they're in or whatever situation. So I say this to you, encourage you to try to write down what you would like your routine to look like. Write down what it is that you like your weekend routine. I talked about this morning that you should write down what it is now, but you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be able to see what it is that you are so you have a measurable to see where you want to grow. Not just like, well, I'll just say that I get up at this time. No, if you really want this bad enough, you got to be able to be honest with yourself to make sure that you get yourself in that routine. So, and then on routine and balance, two very, very important things, especially during the weekend when there's more opportunities, distractions, and things that we are trying to balance between family. And so I challenge you to be cognitive of it. Surround yourself with maybe an accountability partner. Ask your significant other possibly to be like, hey, I really want to try to get up at this time and I want to try to do this weekend, or I want to keep balance, especially if you're a 1099 and you're trying to do several different things and you're trying to start a business. Make sure that you are doing what you need to do in reference to balancing between your family and in your work. So that way, two things take place. Mondays aren't so tough, and your family still feels like you're a part of it. Guys, thanks so much for joining in. If you like more stuff like this, click the subscription below. I appreciate you guys all being here, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. See ya.